How do I want to say what?
What we gotta say?
What?
Love
What?
and
Uh-huh. What?
lifestyle.
That sounds about right.
After being married for 11 years, we eventually found our groove because now we're not trying to scratch at anything.
Right.
Now we're just getting to enjoy something that we prayed about, that we knew God destined us to do together in Marriage on Deck. And so that just freed us up to just be able to become best friends, go at the pace of grace. Stop trying to hustle. Sometimes we think hustle's so good, but it's nice. There's good. There's some good to it, but we learn to rely on God and go at the pace of grace. And I was able to just really start dating my wife again and courting Danielle again. And at this point, we started planning. We had a child.
Yes.
And really began to start falling in love. And purpose is so critical to that because, you're not trying to scratch and do all these crazy things. And so one of the things Danielle and I always talk about is just being each other's best friend. We started out as friends, and after the grind and after adversity and after all the things that happened in our marriage, we even lost a child and so all these crazy things. In 2016, 17, where we started going at the pace of grace and found our purpose, we became, again, we were always best friends, but we began to live in what being a best friend is. And what does that look like? What does living and being a best friend look like for us, Beck?
I mean, we just like to hang out. It's like hanging out. It's transparency. It's positive communication, encouraging each other, building each other up, loving on each other, praying for each other. Marriage on Deck. We were kind of doing that before, but Marriage on Deck, I feel like, which was our purpose that God gave us together, helped us like work together in a different way, right? Everything that we do with that is together, to be able to be together, to work towards something that we love. We're always talking about it. We're staying up late working on it. We're doing interviews together about it. It's just fun. It's a fun time. We even before when we would like argue and bigger, it's a like passion. Yeah. Even before when we would argue and bigger, we would hurry up and say like, let's just hurry up and get over this. So we can get back to having fun. We want to hang out. We want to let life be easy. We want to have fun together. Like it's about having fun and being flexible with each other, not having grace with each other, not
accusing, competing. There's so many things that could go wrong in marriage.
Having high expectations. When we go from dating to marriage, our expectations change because of the roles and the titles that we put on each other. And sometimes that's not good. I mean, a lot of times it's not good, but
absolutely.
But a lot of times that's not good because you go from really appreciating who you are and what you have in each other to just this next level of like, okay, well, since you're officially my husband now, or since you're officially my wife, you need to be perfect, when that's not going to happen. You're just going to get more of what you already had when you were dating, right? So being best friends for us has really brought in the, Howard said, releasing expectations to me one day. And that's not saying, okay, go do what you want to do. And I'll be here waiting. It's more of like, you're fine with me. When he told me that, I just felt so free, like, oh, good, because I'm always worried, like, am I being a good wife? Am I doing anything that's going to make him go look for someone else? Like, just really hard on myself.
Pressures.
Yeah, the pressure is because we do have a good relationship. And, when you have a good man or a good woman, you want to show up for them. You want to serve them. You want to give them the best version of you. And so that was always like on the forefront. But when he told me that in our friendship, right, you have a friendship and you have a marriage. Sometimes when you're married, you judge people on your marriage wavelength. So it's like, oh, this is not acceptable. That's a no. It's a no for me. And that's it. That's all. Right. However, when you look at each other as friends, it's like, if you were just my friend, you would be, I would be trying to help you through this.
Friends ride for each other.
Friends ride for each other. Right.
There's no true, how many people, divorce their friend?
Nobody.
Especially, matter of fact, when I chose my friends, I chose them just because I may have liked one thing about them. And now they may have had a bad temper. They may have had a lot of imperfections, but that was my guy. That's my homeboy. That's my best friend. And so the reason why friendship is so important and still is important in our relationship is it's a safety net to everything that marriage, all the, like Danielle said, all the standards and all the expectation that comes with marriage. Everybody's going to fall short of those at some point. Marriage is an imperfect institution. And really, in many respects, it wasn't meant to have the type of expectations we placed on it. It's meant to be an unconditional loving union that allow iron to sharpen iron, to help us grow.
Mhm.
And so when we think of each other as friends, it allows us to offer each other more grace.
Yeah.
It allows us to offer each other more forgiveness. Most of the time, friends are not going nowhere. If friends do something wrong,
Right.
you ride for them in public, and then you come back behind and say, hey, listen, you know, you're a little wrong about that. Because you're their best friend, they know they can receive it from you, right? But when marriage, when you feel like this person's always telling me how I fall short, they're always telling me how I don't make enough money, I don't clean up enough around the house, that person doesn't have the same loyalty. And so friendship, best friendship in marriage is just essential to really enjoying the union. And it provides, even me, Danielle said for her, it provides me the comfort to know that she's going to be my best friend till we go on to heaven, right? Because who divorces their best friend? It's, you may have beef, but typically you work through that because it's an intentional union, not a union based off of conditions, which is what marriage has become, which is not meant to be. It's not, it's supposed to be an unconditional to death do us part union. And so yeah, you fine, you so sexy, baby. I
Thank
love
you,
you.
babe. I
So
love
fine,
you too. Thank you.
20 years is fine. Goodness.
You make me shy.
I would keep you shy for another 20. So fine self.
And yeah, I guess in the beginning of the pandemic, you know, I mean, I guess a lot of couples I heard were like, it was really a lot of arguing and stuff like that. There was that one day where we were in the house together a lot, and Amy was off from work at that point, right?
No.
Or no, you were working from.
No, I enjoyed being home with you for the first 11 weeks. And then,
Oh, that's what it's.
and then something happened during week 11, and then it was fine. And then week 22, it happened again, where I just couldn't stand you. And then
Every 11 weeks.
I think after that it was okay.
So we had those 2 times.
Well, it helps that I go into the office.
Yeah.
And I think it helps that you have the new focus with
Yeah.
neighborhood community organizing.
Yeah, and it was in this time that a lot of my ministry efforts more shifted towards our, you know, immediate neighborhood. And so in some ways, you know, the whole having slightly different focal points kind of actually in the last year has resolved a little bit, because now we're together focusing on our neighborhood. Yeah, so, you know, yesterday was our 4th anniversary, and I feel more connected and more aligned than ever in terms of our common purpose and our common, you know, sense of God's presence in it, and helping us build a life together. And, you know, I know people always ask, are you going to have kids? Right? That's kind of the thing people ask. And I think, you know, what do we usually say? We're like, well, if I don't know how I should say it. Maybe like if God.
How do you say it?
Well, how do I say it? I say, you know, well, if we can have kids, I don't know if we can have kids. You know, that's not always a guaranteed thing biologically, but if we can, yeah, we'll see if God, the Lord, leads us in that direction. But for now,
I'm
we're
pretty
content. Yeah, we're content. And I do think that it'd be interesting. We don't feel that sense of burden right now, but it, you know, maybe in the future, if to like foster or adopt or those kind of things, if that were in the picture, that could be something to consider. But yeah, but we would have a lot of those conversations before then. But yeah.
Well, I think we agree on just wanting to show hospitality to those in need. So being prepared to not just let anyone live with us, but if the opportunity or if the need came up where someone, most likely that we already had an established relationship with, needed a place to stay, we would want to be open to that.
Right. Yeah. And besides that, just until then, just continue to live life together and enjoy getting to know each other. And follow where Jesus leads us. Is that I think sometimes we're focused on this concept of marriage. How is my marriage doing? And I think sometimes it probably is more helpful.
It's more just how are you doing?
Yeah,
how are we doing?
The person that I, have committed myself to doing, and
or how
am I being loving to them, or am I listening to them well?
Where were we?
I don't know.
So creating a life that we love.
Well, I mean, I think, we have a number of stories of times when we were, I don't know. I think about the time when we were in Venice and I didn't have the credit card, so we had enough money we had already got our ticket back to our hotel outside of the town, and we've been married a month or so, and so here we are, newlyweds. This is also after I'd already lost the Italian phrase book soon after arriving in Italy.
I was so mad about that.
So really trying our marriage from the get-go in terms of saying, how much are you willing to trust each other, and how much are you willing to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, all these things that we think we need. What do we really need there? And so not to downplay a phrase book, I think it really would have been beneficial. But it's the finding yourself in a difficult situation, either without words to say what you need to say, or money to pay. I mean, we had calculated things out with the money that we had on hand, and we got down to the end of it, and we're at our last meal there in town, and we calculated up, and we forgot to calculate in there's an extra service charge that they put on there, but it's not explicitly said. And so we were worried that it wasn't going to go through, and
we thought we were going to have to wash dishes in Venice, Italy,
without being able to explain how to do that, because we didn't speak a lick of Italian,
and we didn't have the guidebook.
So I think the point of the story. It is kind of silly that we're at that situation, but just to think about like those things that we think we have or think we need, what are we putting our trust in, and to say, wait a minute, we have to reframe how our best laid plans go awry, and then it's how do you respond and how do you move forward with those things, and either not give up hope or give up hope. So that was early on in our marriage.
I think in terms of like creating a life that we love, being two very differently wired people, but we are both firstborn, so we have that in common. And so I think like that firstbornness of thinking things through, like before making a decision, like, well, what does that decision lead to, and what does that decision lead to, has helped us be intentional about kind of the way we frame not only decisions, but just the way that we do life. And we don't do it perfectly, for sure. But I think, a number of years ago, we created a mission statement for our family. And this is after we had kids. But like, we knew that some of a mission would inform kind of all the little decisions. And so our mission, made us say no to travel sports because hospitality is a high value, and we knew we couldn't do both of it well. And, just these different things that we decided to prioritize over others so that we could really enjoy our life. So just thinking through those things has been important in creating the life and space that we wanted to have.
And I think, part of that mission statement is adventure together, which really served us well in this last year when, so many things were taken away, not only, from us, but from our kids in terms of activities and things like that, so that we were able to say, well, no, part of our mission as a family is together and to enjoy adventures together. So last spring, we were going every weekend out to a state park or a place to hike. Even this last weekend, we were down at a cabin and hiking out of state and just exploring and climbing on rocks and just scampering. And I think that that's translated to our kids and to us. I think there are other ways where, in terms of building a life together, and that nature of us wanting to, think things through and realize that because we are so different and how we approach questions is so different, we have to take the time to do that. And we did it last year, and we did it at the beginning of this year. We took a little bit of time to just sit down and try to plan out our year, not like in detail, but just some of the big themes of what we wanted to try to do, and also uses a reflection on what went well the year before, how can we improve things, just so we have some of that framework and that scaffolding, and that helps us not be so reactive. And I think part of that is because we have 5 kids, and so we feel the tension all the time of being pulled in different directions, and so wanting to say no, we want to be on the same page about everything, and try to help instill that in them as well as in us.
Yeah. I think just, one thing we valued together is just kind of living a simple life where we value people and experiences over things. And so that's definitely a theme for us. And we've had plenty in terms of finances in our marriage, and we've had very little. And it's just, the Lord's always humbling us. Like, I remember, when we both were working full time and had a pretty big bank account, and, we did all the things you were supposed to do. And then there was a period of time where that whittled down, our savings whittled down because of some circumstances. And I remember telling someone, like, basically I was saying, this isn't fair. Like, we saved like we were supposed to, and now it's all gone. And she was like, well, why did you save that? Like, what was it for? And I said, well, you're supposed to have it there in case you lose a job. And, AJ was in the, it was job related, the reason why we were using our savings. And I just laughed, like, oh yeah, the Lord, she was like, well, thank God that he gave you the fortitude and, to do that ahead of time, so you'd have it. And I just thought, like, oh yeah, I think we both can go to scarcity sometimes instead of abundance, and that we just have to keep coming back to, like, God loves us abundantly, whether we have a lot or a little, or, and our kids have even asked us, like, are we rich? Like, they don't have a sense. And because they know people poorer than us, they know people with more money. And I said, we're rich. We have love. We have, people that support us. We have shelter, like, we're by all standards rich, but we hope that they understand the type of richness that we're talking about.
So how we are building a life together that we love. I think that when you're single and you're moving forward in purpose, I think it's important for everyone to find their purpose before you find, it doesn't always work that way, but I knew what my purpose was. And so I knew, again, that was confirmation with him. However, now you're building it together. So it may not look the same. And I think for me, I had to let go of what my preconceived notion of that vision that God had already given me, and now marrying it with him, literally, and what our life looks like together. It was no longer me and him. It was us.
And I would say the balance that I've had to strike is the difference between being a head and being a, lack of a better term, dictator, but that's not what it is, And so it's not this whole, what I say goes thing. It's Jenny had to understand that she had to submit her vision, right? And so, but that puts more pressure and responsibility on me to get it right, right? To actually see and stay close to God, because now I'm not just visioning for me, I'm visioning for the legacy of our family. So that's a big thing. So I've had to keep my eyes forward. But here's the thing, as men, to accurately communicate the vision to your wife. Adam didn't accurately communicate the vision to Eve. She added on some things when he said, and to not touch it. So he had communicated the vision to her. But I'm like, okay, I need to accurately communicate the vision to Jenny so that she feels secure. All right. While not saying this is my way or the highway or anything like that. So respecting her strengths, respecting her wisdom, respecting her gifts, everything that she has, and saying, okay, this is what God has shown me. How do we come together to bring it to fruition?
And everything that we have started building together and that we will continue to build is confirmation. Yeah. So it's not like he would bring me something that was out in left field I had never heard of. Oh, the Lord has been speaking to me about that too. Oh, God's been talking to me about this as well. So that is literally how we're building the life we love. And honestly, the Lord has led us to start building things. I never thought I would be in an online business. I'm I kind of actually was resistant for a while when he wanted to do it. We probably would be much farther than we are. Sorry, honey, but God had to work on me.
I'm like, go, go, go,
And
go.
he was patient. And I just said, I don't know if this feels right, but God had to work on me. So being patient with one another and where they're at, knowing that, okay, God's going to speak to her in her own timing and she's going to work through and then be on board. And then once it was like, but everything we're building, the life that we love, God is leading and he knows better what is going to bless us even more than we do.
Yeah.
So
that's how we're building the life we love. And that looks
and
like,
we love it.
that looks like, it looks like everything from God giving me vision for our children, God giving me visions for our family and our marriage, and staying and moving forward with that. God giving me vision in terms of where we're going to live and how the lifestyle we're going to live. God giving me vision in terms of the business that we're going to have and life and the lives that we're going to touch.
Stay close to the heart of God.
Stay close. But that requires, I can't do it by myself. And here's the thing, as a man, I don't want to. Like I love we had a coaching call this morning. I'm like, babe, I love doing coaching calls with you. I love speaking with you. Like I don't want to do that by myself anymore. So that's how we're building the life we love.
We have a lot of irons in the fire, to be quite honest. There's a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of things we have a heart to do. We want to do a nonprofit that deals with our son and his autism and helping and finding a way to support the parents of kids on the spectrum. You know, we do the ministry thing heavy, and that thing is constantly growing. One of the pillars of our ministry is God told us to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless. So we've been doing 2 of the 3 consistently, and God has given us, means to, begin to do the 3rd actually as well. So that's a part of it. But I do a lot of counseling, and that is leaking up. We do addiction support group, and but a life for us, it's just like I don't want to like say it too crazy, but like I think we're at a place where in our lives where we're like our life goals are God's goals. It's like some of the stuff that most people would want to do that they value, like we forfeited, like without really saying God, we forfeited, but we were talking, I think a week ago about vacation and like where would we really want, where would we really want to go if we went on vacation? And we just like, I kind of like just being home. Like I just like, we have everything we need. We just great. We have everything we need. And I think what our life looks like is or our life goal as a family is almost like a life of submission and commitment to God, to show people like you can really be sold out to God and do the work of the kingdom. I really sound holy. Wow. My life is,
I told you.
My life is is Jesus-y.
I've been telling you
really
this.
Jesus-y. I'm glad to say when our legacy is whatever it's going to be, unless God rapture, I'm believing in a rapture person, but I'm never gonna die. But when people look at us, they're gonna be like, those two, they really love God, and because like that's something that even I'm big on, because a lot of people have been religious for far too long. And they don't know application. They haven't figured out how to take this Bible world and apply it to their life. So I think what life looks like in us is to be living epistles. Like living epistles when the people see us and they're like, y'all are different. And then you hit them with it. Well, we're, whatever title you want to, we're children of God. We're sons. We're sons of God. And this is, what it really looks like. Not cussing people out when they cuss at you. Although I did give a lady a dirty look today on the lane of picking up the car because she wouldn't let us in. And then we found favor in traffic. But anyway, but again, like our life is really like showing them you can be funny, you can have a sense of humor, you can have a good time. It's not about building a big platform, but it's about lifting up God. Like, and as we lift God higher, we can only go so high without him elevating us so that we can continue to elevate him. But that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking to elevate him in everything that we say or we do.
And I think it when you get to that point where you're, I always say, stop, not trying to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses are trying to keep up with the Johnsons, who are trying to keep up with the Smiths. So when you are just like, what, this is who we are, this is how we flow, it takes that pressure off of you to feel like you gotta, do what other people think that you should be doing. I mean, when we were with a previous ministry, vision boards were big, and they kind of still are to an extent, but it was like, you had to have, it was all about the flashy.
You had to have a car on there.
You had to have a car,
on
you know
there.
what I'm saying? So it was like, so all this stuff, and then we did have the things on there that we wanted, like, one of the things that you had on yours was standing in a picture of, he was standing there in like a warehouse with all of this food around him. So that's kind of, just speaking to what we're doing now, but it was just like, that was overshadowed by, the focus of, you got to have the car, you got to have this.
The
and
stuff of substance was overshadowed by icing. There was no cake underneath the icing.
See?
And I know I'm a best say that, but you can tell, who you're doing a good job. Keep it up. He's getting it. But yeah, but the thing that's substantial to me is I still have my vision board.
Yeah,
and sometimes I look at it, and all the icing does not come to pass. All the icing does not come to pass, and but there was a mansion on there. Our the people, they think our house is a mansion. We can tell you different, but to them it is. There were cars on there, nice cars. We keep cars, but the cars don't keep us.
Right.
Like if our cars belong to the ministry, literally I put them in the shop so that we can go pick people up, pick food up, spill them in the cars, and nice cars. But nevertheless, they just cars.
Right.
But all the stuff of substance, like planting churches, helping people, and some of the stuff that we put for our kids is actually coming to pass. So that's kind of that's kind of dope. The dreams that we have for our children, kind of seeing the writing on the wall. Maybe not specifically, but the association is undeniable to the things that we wanted them to do. I have my oldest son on the cover of a video gaming magazine. So two things, like he plays video games professionally, like he competes, but he's also into like computers and working with software and everything. So I was just like, yeah, that's dope. Like to do that before he ever went to college. And then the Prince, we had him dressed up like a Philadelphia Eagle, but anybody knows the Prince, when he puts his mind to it, he's almost an NFL savant. Like when he puts his mind. Now, right now, Roblox has got a stronghold on him. We got to work on that. But like again, I think how our life looks is really just like living epistles, showing a generation that like being saved and being totally sold out for God ain't corny.
Right.
Like it don't have to be corny. It don't have to be stuffed shirt. It don't, because so many young people are just turned off because how it looks. But like then when they see us, they be like, yeah, and then they find out, they're like, y'all really, like, really. And so we the sleepers. We the sleepers that people may be overlooking, and then before they know it, we behind enemy lines, changing lives, and doing what God called us to do, being that light amongst darkness. But at first you gotta be in a dark place to illuminate it. So we're grateful for that.
And one other thing I just wanted to even say upon in building life together, it's so important that as you journey and talk about different things, be like, okay, like for one of the things that we're currently doing now, and I've told my husband, and this is the thing about the transparency. I've told him, I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't, just because of things that we had going on, and just I felt like, no, what about us? And God really just had to like deal with me. And I told him, I was like, babe, I apologize. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I know that you would not do anything to, steer us wrong or, and I don't doubt the God in you or anything, but it was like, I was having a selfish moment, cause I was thinking about, family, thinking about us, but, so I had a, heart talk with God, cried, snot, all of that. And I was like, cool. And I talked to my husband. I was like, babe, I'm sorry for not being fully on board with that particular vision. I'm here now. So now he knows, like, I'll call him up like, babe, boom, 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 boom. He's like, oh, cool. So now I'm like fully invested in. That's just, something that is really important. Make sure, even if you have, because, whatever my apprehensions or whatever may be, he needs to hear that, because he's like, okay, well, trying to, you know, pick apart, is this you and your feelings, or are you discerning something, but you're not able to like really hone in on it? So by me, you know, sharing that with him, he's like, okay, yeah, you and your feelings, but now you're not. So we can move on.
And, you know, I think a part of that is like, you know, being sensitive to each other and who you are. One thing that I've been really saying a lot lately is like, we can't expect ourselves out of other people. So even though she's processing something, she's processing it through her life experiences, her wisdom, her understanding, and I don't always get it, and vice versa. And I'm learning to like deliver messages to her in a medium that she can process it, because I start delivering it like she would say it instead of how I would say it, so that it can be easier received. But like you said, babe, that's important. Like that's that communication thing. And one thing I just like to throw out there is that a lot of relationships don't fail over communication. They fail over comprehension. A lot of people talk, they yell, they scream, they holler. That's communication. May not be the best sort. You know, body language, unspoken communication. There's a lot of communication going on, but there's no comprehension. So if you don't press to like, wisdom is the principal thing and all that I'm getting, it doesn't say get understanding.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't say get communication. It says get understanding.
Right.
You got to comprehend. Why is my wife giving me the cold shoulder? Why is she, you know, turning her side to me at night instead of cuddling when she's generally an affectionate, touchy-feely type person? What's going on? Like, I need to get understanding. Why are you communicating this way? So people communicate all the time. Why don't you want to spend time? Why are you avoiding me?
Right.
Why, you know, what's that? So, you know, comprehension is key. And so I think we have to chase and seek to understand. And then, because when you understand the situation, when you understand the problem, then you can begin to strategize on a solution. But if you all you do is talk about the problem and you never get to the root of it, then you have a problem. A long time ago in our relationship, early in our relationship, I was in a bad place. But I recognized my wife was in a worse place. It was a time when we were, her mother had passed away. That was tough to deal with because of the way her mother went. It was long, painful experience. She had Alzheimer's, and you know, a little dementia just started to fade away. It just took a long time. She gave birth to our first son, and you know, struggling. Well, her only child. But anyway, that was weird. But anyway, so me, you know, thinking, okay, hormones and all of that stuff, postpartum depression and all of that she's dealing with. On top of that, she lost her job when around 9/11-ish time, where everything crashed, and she never really got back into like a full-time job. And then we were at the ministry, and she was like being treated poorly there. So I'm on the outside looking at her life and all the dynamics that are going on, and I'm like, man, she's getting her butt kicked. I don't want to bring my feelings into it, just pile on. But what God shared with me, he's like, it's never. I was trying to wait for a good time. God said, it's never gonna be a good time. He said, just go ahead and be transparent, be honest, but be sensitive to her situation. And so even though she was in a tough time, I was like, these are some things that I need to say how I feel. And she was like, I see where you're coming from. And, you know, we moved on from that point, and that helped me to get delivered. Just being able to be transparent. And again, to communicate and comprehend why there was, you know, some, I don't want to say friction, but it was just, something wasn't clicking. Right. Something wasn't clicking in our relationship, and it came through not necessarily just talking about it. You can tell when something's wrong in your relationship when people start acting funny. Right. We're married. I can't give you another ring. I can't propose. I didn't get there. I'm paying all of it. You're acting fun. Okay, now I need to comprehend what changed, what shifted. Right. And comprehension is the key to that. So, and again, then when we get to the point we understand that that's a necessary requirement for a successful marriage, then we can also share that with other people. Like, y'all are talking at each other. Right. Y'all are trying to prove your point. Y'all are trying to be right, but y'all aren't understanding the where the person's coming from. And if you don't fix that, you're never going. If you don't fix that fractured foundation, then you're never going to be able to build anything else substantial upon it.